Capricorn.
Hello Capricorn, this is your astrological forecast for June 2016. And so with a lot of retrogrades going on, how has this month been working for you thus far? At least now here in May, we will have Jupiter moving forward for us again here on May 9th or 10th, depending on where you live. But here in June, it will now be picking up speed and moving forward and bringing that generosity and the feeling of expansion. Jupiter bringing all good things to the forefront, right? And so we're happy for it. Mercury was retrograde there in May, moving forward on May 22nd. So she's picking up speed too here in June. And so we got those areas covered now. And we'll talk a little bit more about them, but we still have more retrogrades. Mars will be retrograde until that of June 29th. We have Saturn to August 12th. We got Neptune to November 20th. And we have Pluto to September 26th. So we can see that there's still a whole lot of us that we're working on right now, consciously, subconsciously for the most part, looking back over what we have been working with. Karma now coming to the forefront. We're going to have to deal with it, work with it, and especially here this month in June. And let me tell you why though, Capricorn. Your focus is going to be in the 6th house. Well, we have the Sun, got Venus, and the new moon in this area. And the 6th house has to do with your day-to-day routines. You're going to be looking at it and really focusing on how you're spending your time. Is that time working for you, or are there situations that are upon you, just bleeding your energy, should I say, draining it out? In that case, it's all about getting your ducks in a row and setting it, not just for now, but whatever you do in this area, it's going to help you throughout the next 12 months until the Sun and Venus comes back to this area. And that goes for the new moon on June 4th as well. We only get a visitation of the new moon once a year. And the new moon always represents new beginnings. And this area right now here for you is also not just day-to-day routines, but also it's your health. How is that working for you? Maybe now is the time to look at new strategies for working out, maybe start up a new program. Whatever floats your boat right now may be great news. Now these 3 planets, all of them will be in the sign of Gemini. And Gemini, as we all know, have the gift of gab, meaning communication is going to be important for you this month here, Capricorn. So pay attention to where that communication is going and how you're communicating. But Geminis also love knowledge. And you're going to be embedding that Gemini feeling, even though you are a Capricorn, but it is the planets now. It's the Sun moving through the Sun, Venus here, and the new moon. So we, all of us, will want to maybe research more, taking that Gemini consciousness of diving into areas to attain more knowledge and insights in the area of the 6th house. Then we have Mercury now moving forward in your 5th house. The 5th house has to do with, I call it the joy house. It's when we have fun and we're not working. We want to take some time off. Mercury rules your mind, the linear thinking process. And it's all about wanting to have fun, catching up on it. And so whatever you do this month, make those choices good. The 5th house is all about self-expression. It's about love and romance. It's our children. It's the businesses that we own. It's our creativity that is really here at stake. And Mercury is thinking along these lines. What do I need to catch up on? What haven't I taken time off to do? Now would be the time that you could do exactly those things. In fact, it's a great month for you here, Capricorn, to take a holiday, take a vacation. Because Mercury's in this 5th house and not really work-oriented at all, and Jupiter is now moving forward in your 9th house, which has to do with travel. And we're not just talking a little road trip. 9th house is actually long distance. So maybe there could be an opportunity that would be knocking on your door to get out and about. In that case, it will work out for you beautifully. There could be some great news also coming from out of country, perhaps for those of you who have family or friends out of the country. Jupiter is always the bearer of great news here. Then we have Mars. Mars retrograde, as we mentioned, in the sign of Scorpio. So Mars was the ancient ruler of Scorpio. It's our physical drive, energy, our passions. It's allowing us to go very deeply now into those emotions. And Mars currently in that 11th house, which represents hopes and dreams and everything that's ideal, your wishes, but it also rules circle of friends and also groups and organizations. So Mars here is bringing people to you from the past, since it's retrograde, people you might not have heard from for a long time, but when they resurface, it's for a reason. So only you will know what that reason is and how that is going to work out for you. Then we have Saturn retrograde until August 12th. This is in your area of the 12th house, which rules subconsciousness, our higher mind and spirituality. It's also the karmic area of our chart, and Saturn too rules karma. So there might be things that you're thinking about. Maybe some of these people coming out from the past might have some unfinished business there, or that you might feel you have some unfinished business. This might surface here in June, and I want to talk to you about that when I'm going to go through the calendar month of the transits, because it's going to be a little bit of a testy month this month, and so I'll take you through that step by step. But then also, let's just continue on the retrogrades. The next one up here is Neptune. And Neptune rules our hopes and dreams, our spirituality, everything that's more ethereal, so to speak. It's quite a spiritual energy. Until November 20th, Neptune is retrograding in your chart here in the 3rd house, which rules communication. So it's important under any retrograde in the 3rd house that we communicate clearly, especially when it comes to Neptune. A Neptune that is working in a good, solid way is very clear about our hopes and dreams and aspirations. But when it's retrograde, it can get a little muddy, foggy, it can create miscommunications and so forth. And so, yes, we definitely do want to focus on it. And I'm going to give you some dates you specifically want to be clear about here in your communication this month. Then the last of the retrogrades, which is Pluto until September 26th, excuse me, is currently in your 1st house. And the 1st house for you, Capricorn, is your personality. And Pluto's that pivotal point of transformation, how we're growing. And you may see how your personality has been shifting over time, over these last couple of years. There's a new sense of power that you are emitting out to other people, because the 1st house is how you present yourself to others. And so you're more Plutonian these days than what you used to be. But now Pluto's taking a little bit of a step back here with a retrograde, so I think that can be a positive. It gives you a break too. So yeah, let's start top of the month though. The Sun, which represents you, your essence, your being, and Venus, which rules love, romance, things that you desire and hold close to heart, and also money. The two of them are traveling together, but they're up against a challenge here with Neptune. And remember what we said about Neptune. Neptune, when it's not at its optimum, it can create confusion and this muddled energy. And so you might be saying something and whoever you're talking to might be hearing it totally differently, or vice versa. Maybe somebody's saying something to you and you're receiving it differently and when it was said. Now that's going to come to head on the 3rd, when the same two planets, the Sun and Venus, are going to be opposing Saturn. Saturn is structure, but it's also our own inner sense of authority. Externalized Saturn is outer authority, other people in authority, and it also rules karma. Now, they're at odds. So it's nearly like I can hear that you said something, and then they're going to come back to you after a couple of days and say, you said, he said, she said. And then it's like, no, that's not what we said. This is what we said. So here's a clearing up factor. And it might be a little stressful too, because Mercury, which rules communication, will be in opposition to Mars on the 9th. So from the 1st to the 9th, all of this energy is actually like underlying the whole day-to-day procedure. And when Mercury rules communication and our mind, our thoughts might be in this direction on the 9th, whereas Mars, which is our action, our physical drive, may be going the opposite direction, so they're not really aligned. And this is when small accidents can happen, or where people are just frustrated. You'll probably see it out on the freeways that people are honking, tooting their horns more, or cutting people off, and it's because they're not really aligned. So a little caution there on the 9th. Just lay low, right? On the 12th and the 14th, here we have a couple of picker-upper days. The Sun and Venus, the Sun being you, Venus, those things that you love and cherish, love and romance and money, are in a beautiful aspect to Uranus. Now, Uranus always brings the unexpected. And Uranus is in your 4th house, so that's the area it's going to come from, which rules home and family members. It's the foundation of your life. It's also the physical home, house, real estate. And from the Sun and Venus up there in the 6th house, it might just be that you're going to purchase something new, upgrade, or it could be money coming to or going to a family member as a surprise. So these are days which is going to lift you above that frustration that the month thus far has been building. But don't be fooled, because that frustration is not over by any means yet. This is just a little island of joy, right? Because the 17th, and of course you're going to feel it prior to the 17th, but on the 17th, Saturn is exactly squaring off on Neptune. So you're probably going to be feeling it from the top of the month as they're getting closer and closer. It's like this wave that's lifting and rising. Saturn being authority, either yours or somebody else's authority. Neptune on what has not been clear or right, or has represented a disappointment, a disillusionment, something that has been deceptive. All of those things that rule under Neptune, when it's afflicted, may come up against the Saturn. And now Saturn wants it right. This is karma. So on the 17th, they will join. And then on the 20th, and you're going to be feeling it straight from the 17th through the 20th, Mercury, communication, whoever you're talking to, or Mercury, how you're thinking, is going to be at odds with this Saturn, this authority, whether in yourself, that's you reacting to something unfair, or the outer world, the external world, might be reacting at something they think is unfair. But this needs to be communicated, and it starts off being at odds, and then Mercury also squaring off on Neptune, which is the problem, or has been the problem. Maybe you were duped, maybe something earlier on, and now this situation is coming up. But then at least you're going to be given the opportunity to straighten things out here in June. Then we have the 20th, something nice, that is the full moon. It's 29 degrees in Sagittarius, so that will be the last degrees of your 12th house here, Capricorn, illuminating that spiritual energy for you. But since it's on the last degrees, within the first few hours, that full moon is going to shift over your ascendants into your 1st house, and then the 1st house will be illuminated, and you are on the stage of it, since the 1st house is you and your personality. So this should be at least a very good day for you when it comes to that. And also on the 26th and 27th, as we're getting close to the end of the month, we're seeing some great news. This is Jupiter, which is love and abundance and generosity. There's an expansion here with Jupiter. It's especially now because it's picking up speed, right? And with Pluto, which rules transformation, but it also rules passion, it rules money, and we're not talking nickel and dimes. Pluto can rule big money. So here's this news. For you, your Jupiter is in the 9th house, Pluto here in the 1st house. So this could be news either from you going out to somebody at distance, out of town or out of country, or you receiving it from out of country or out of town, but it's joyful news. And then on the 27th, it's Venus, which rules love and romance, but also money. And Neptune here. Neptune, the higher dimension, is the higher octave of Venus. So this is romance, and it could really be a nice romantic evening, so you want to circle that for a date night. Just recall though that Neptune is retrograde, so again, just consider communication, that we're listening to what is being said and how we are expressing it so it doesn't get muddled up, right? But great aspect. It's a beautiful golden trine, so it should be good there for you, Capricorn. And of course, the Tarot podcast reading for June will give you even more insight for what you can come to expect here this month of June. And I will see you next month in July. Bye now.